I'm here with Sarah Douglas, who is Ursa in Superman 2. And what was it like playing a supervillain?
Now there's an original question. It's fine. Everybody says to me, what was it like playing a supervillain? Actually, everybody says to me, what was it like flying? So in fairness to you, I don't always get what's it like being a supervillain. I probably think it's the cushiest job that a girl can have. As far as Superman went, I had all the powers of Superman, but he was for good and I was for evil. So I got to kick butt, which is always fun, isn't it? No, it was great. I've played a lot of villains, and mostly I'm playing an evil witch or an evil queen or something. But to actually play a supervillain that has X-ray eyes and super breath and can fly and all, pretty cool. Little uncomfortable after a long day when you're on those wires. And there were days when I thought, why aren't I in sort of a costume drama? But then I wasn't a costume drama, wasn't I? I was in a thigh-length boot costume drama, a leather-clad dominatrix costume drama, which isn't bad to be in.
And what was it like working with Christopher Reeve, who, for all intents and purposes, is the Superman?
Well, I have been quoted many times saying that it was like working with Clark Kent. Very polite, very nice, a really decent guy. I had a lot more fun, she said tactfully, with Gene Hackman. I had a blast with him. And of course my two cohorts, Jack O'Halloran and Terence Stamp, you couldn't really ask for more fun. Jack, who played Non, who's just the man you want to have around when you've got a little problem paying a bill or somebody's stolen your parking space. Jack will just growl at them and everything gets cleared up. And Terence Stamp, who has to be still, even as he gets more silver-haired and older, one of the sexiest men on earth. So every morning was an absolute joy. It was great fun.
This is, I guess, kind of a point of contention in the Superman community, but what was it like being an actress in the whole Richard Lester, Richard Donner switchover debacle?
Well, I have to say, it for an actress, it's the best possible experience. You're actually, I don't think there's any other actors that have been through what we went through with Superman, where we actually got to shoot a scene with the same director twice. So you got the Richard Donner approach, which was very laid back and very kind of Californian, she said, again tactfully, but very laid back. And then you had Richard Lester, who was very, very technical and absolutely knew what he wanted from you. And for me, that worked. I had a lot of fun with Donner, and it was really a pleasure working with Donner. Richard Lester, for a man that's directed a lot of light-hearted comedy type things, like the Beatles and stuff, it was really quite serious and very much technically minded. So for us girls that want to have a bit of fun, Donner was our man. Lester was definitely serious, but for me it worked very well, because he said, okay, I want you to come over here and I want you to hit this piece of wood, and you're going to hit it and you're going to flip up a manhole cover and you're going to catch the manhole cover and then you're going to throw it and hit Superman in the stomach. And I can remember thinking, I don't know if I can do that, but his approach was so technical, and so you are going to do it. Now, Donner, without doubt, would have put his arms around me and said, hey, honey, if you don't get it today, we've got another 6 months of shooting, we'll get it tomorrow or the next day. Much more laid back. And possibly, I wouldn't have reacted quite so well to him. Lester put the fear of God into me, and I just did the job, and it worked.
And since we're at Icon, and one of the biggest, underlying movements of Icon is to increase interest in the sciences through science fiction.
Absolutely.
What's the most interesting or inspiring scientific achievement that you've seen, and what do you hope for, having worked in science fiction and seen some science fiction become science?
I can honestly say that's the sort of question that I absolutely abhor and puts the fear of God into me, because I'm thinking, oh my God, what is she talking about? As far as, let's just back up a little bit. Certainly, I've done a lot of science fiction. I've been in a lot of science fiction movies. The first film I ever did was a film called The Final Program, which was a sci-fi novel by a guy called Michael Moorcock. I didn't understand what was going on then. I can honestly say I still don't understand what's going on in what I'm doing. I am forever impressed and delighted to meet, for instance, at something like this, Icon, to meet the fans who explain to me what I am doing. I'm still not sure what vortexes are. I seem to go through a lot of big circular things and into something. Somebody stopped me out there and said something about Stargate, and I just thought, I felt all hot and bothered, and I thought, it's okay, remain calm. I have to be honest and say I have no idea what I was doing most of the time, but because I'm English and because I speak English, you see, people think that I know what I'm talking about. I know that's not quite what we're talking about. I mean, that's the sci-fi world, but as far as scientific achievement, I think that the idea of encouraging more people like me that knows nothing about science to be more interested in it is absolutely brilliant. And I just wish that when I was at school there were things like Icon that I could have gone along to that might have introduced me to the more scientific side of things. I was just way too busy playing games, and I don't mean games, but I mean sport, and doing drama. I wasn't interested in science one little bit, so I wish there'd been something like this. It didn't exist then, and I have to just say, I came here maybe 20 years ago. Maybe 20 years. We've got to find out. My very first appearance at Stony Brook was certainly 20 years ago. How old are you? Don't tell me. I'm going to vomit. I can imagine. But let me tell you, I came and I had the best time. And that's why I've come back again. I came back 2 years ago, and I just think it's very cool that you're trying to expand the interest in young people. And if somebody could take me aside and teach me a little something about science, I'd be thrilled. Does that make any sense?
Yes, absolutely.
That's a miracle.
And my last question is...
Oh, thank goodness, because you shouldn't be following that last question with any other question, because you've just taken the wind out of my sails. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite story from Superman that you'd like to share from the set? Or
well, I think probably the story I've told before, but one of the things that of these big movies, we're talking about big budget, and in those days it was enormous, Superman. One of the great joys of being on a film that then goes on shooting for so long is you start to get more and more benefits. And for me as a young actress, I started off without a chair with my name on, and I ended up with a chair with embossed name, and I was impressed by that. But what really did it for me was that I had my own nose blower. Because when you're a supervillain, you don't carry Kleenex tissues. I mean, there's nowhere to put your tissue when you're wearing a little organza costume. And when you're flying at great height, upside down all day long, you can have, unfortunately, if you've got a bit of a chest infection or a bit of a cold, you can have the need for a Kleenex quite often. And I had a guy called Bert the Snot, and this is true, Bert the Snot, and he had a 40-foot pole with a tissue on the end. And at a certain time, they'd go, Bert the Snot! And let me just add on, I don't know if it's the same here, but on film sets in England, they give the name of the job to each person. So you have Bill Paint, John Props. They give you them, so of all the Johns, it's John Props you want. And I had Bert Snot. So Bert Snot would come in with a 40-foot pole, and he would get underneath me because I was up there, and they couldn't waste the time to bring me down to wipe my nose. And that was his job. And that's when I knew that I'd finally made it, and I had my own nose wiper.